The Charleston Water System announced their plans last November to remove some 6,400 lead service lines still in use throughout the downtown peninsula.
That action was prompted in part due to the Environmental Protection Agency's ruling to remove all lead pipes from public and private water systems by 2037.
Now, the Trump administration has started work to repeal the Biden administration's groundbreaking rule and prohibit the government from ever requiring lead line replacement in the future, or at least lowering the limits.
Live 5's Justin Kollar in the studio with us now. More on what the Charleston Water System plans to do now with federal funding facing shutoff.
Yeah, Justin, break it down for those of us who don't really know what this is.
Yeah, Ann and Michael, we've been following this for a while now, and regardless of whether or not the money continues to flow or if it's reduced to a trickle, the Charleston Water System tells me each of the 6,400 lead pipes in use right now will be removed. The only question is when.
We're going to get the first 1,100 out in the next 2 years, and we're going to get the remaining 5,300 out in the next 10 years if the EPA requires it, and it may take us a little while longer if not. It all depends on if there's more federal and state money available. We can accelerate that because otherwise these costs will be borne by the ratepayer.
The first round of replacement is nearly ready, thanks to the grant funding already secured by the Charleston Water System. 1,100 consent letters just like this are hitting mailboxes today.
The first 1,100 that we're going to take out are in economically disadvantaged census tracts that really are all over the peninsula and up into the neck into North Charleston. We don't exactly know definitively where we're going to begin because a lot of people are still enrolling to participate now, but that's the more people enroll, the more that's going to allow us to engineer the project and choose what neighborhoods start first.
People should be living in spaces where they have access to clean water at a bare minimum.
Kenny Cummings is the executive director of the SC Housing Justice Network. She represents people in the neighborhoods letters were sent to. She and 10 others are heading to Washington, D.C. right now to tell elected officials why every pipe needs to be replaced.
I mean, we're talking about a public health and a public safety reality. So we know the impacts of lead on people, on elders, on children.
Charleston Water System's Mike Saya says regardless of what your pipes are made of, the water flowing through them is lead-free if used regularly.
In the last year or so, we've done about 6,000 tests where people have had us test their water, and almost 97% of those have come back non-detect. But when regulations pop up like this, we know it's for the consumer protection, it's for the community's good. And so we're absolutely committed to meeting each and every regulation that comes our way.
The regulatory battle has reached a boiling point as regulation remains under fire from Republicans and House Joint Resolution 18, which outlines congressional disapproval of the EPA's rule regarding national primary drinking water regulations for lead and copper improvements. It's the first step in repealing them completely.
If these guidelines are for the community's good, is relaxing them not?
Relaxing regulation that provides consumer protection is never a good idea. Unless the science is flawed. We don't believe it is in the case with lead and copper. And so we're committed to getting the lead out, whether the regulation is there or not. If they're relaxed and this lead and copper rule requires less of us, we're still going to remove the 6,400 service lines on our side of the meter to get the lead out and to keep this community safe now and in perpetuity.
Committed to making a difference, even if it means driving all day to keep your drinking water safe.
Every one of these folks have taken off from work or some level of responsibility to be in this space, and they come into this space not just representing themselves, but people beyond themselves. They know that everyone can't come to a state house, everyone can't go to the Capitol, but we all need to live in the reality that this is ours. This is our country. This is our government. These are our elected officials, and we deserve better. And the only way that that's going to happen is if we stand together and are clear about what is possible. And so what we know is possible is that lead pipes can be removed and replaced.
Now again, the Charleston Water System tells us that everyone's water, regardless of what material makes up the pipe that it traveled through to get to you, is safe, so long as you use it regularly. Now we explain the science behind that on our website, so be sure to look out for this story on live5news.com, where we'll also provide you with the latest updates on this issue as they develop. In the studio, I'm Justin Kollar.